Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all my blessed beloveds out there in radio land, or, oh, sorry, it's video land. I always get that messed up. It's technology issue land. My camera has just died. I don't know if I will ever be able to get it fixed. So we shall see. I know that David Rose was on just a few seconds ago and he went off, so I'm not sure if he's coming back on. It's gorgeous out. The weather is absolutely amazing. I can't even tell you how beautiful it is. I can't tell you how excited I am to be a part of this amazing world. Um, it's just absolutely stunning. And I feel so grateful and so blessed to be able to do what I do every day. You're watching Living and Thriving with Rustie, and I'm Rustie, but guess what? You don't get to see my mug today because the computer has decided that the camera is going to go to Bermuda right before Arthur lands. I'm just saying, very, very, very sophisticated technology here. Unfortunately, nothing's quite open yet here on the Gulf Coast of Florida. We are working on it slowly and safely, I hope, and we'll get it fixed, hopefully. Today is Memorial Day, and I find it really interesting, and I think David, my guest, will entertain this musing. Everybody sends me, oh, I hope you have a wonderful Memorial Day. Well, there's two reasons why I wouldn't. One, this is kind of a sad day, reminding us of all the loss that we've had to protect our rights. Aside from the political piece, I don't take holidays. What is a freaking holiday? David, what's a holiday? Do you take holidays?
I don't know. You know what they are? They're a chance to get ahead of the competition.
Oh, score. Yeah. All right. So poor David can't see my mug either, but he's probably grateful. One of the things that I've been blasting out in May and June, these 2 months are really, really the months of power because look, we're in a pandemic, okay? We don't know what's going on. We don't know half the truth. We're not going to for a long time, like JFK's murder, you know, it's going to be years before we get all the facts. And larger than that, it's really quiet. Most people are not okay with quiet. So they're busying themselves with things that are unproductive, like eating too much, drinking too much, playing too many video games. And here I am, David, you know how hard I work.
Yes.
You were my sixth interview in a row today because I ain't playing. Who's paying my bills? I'm paying my bills. And that is really huge. So last week I did a mastermind at your own university in regards to goal setting and how to crush them, smash them, and just make them chewable, right? And yeah. I don't understand why nobody else is taking advantage of this time, David. This is like opportune, 100% amazing. Get your shit together, make that money, you know, do it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And what better time than when people are, you know, kind of forced into sheltered at home. I put an article out a few weeks ago that got a tremendous response, more than I expected, really, called Shelter and Accelerate while people are sheltering in place. So shelter and accelerate. And, you know, really the idea of encouraging people that have ideas, whether it be entrepreneur or, you know, you name it, that no time to waste. Put down the bonbons, let the Cheetos go. Probably leave those alone always, but that's another story.
Hey man, those are my Cheetos.
Yeah, hey, you know, Chester Cheeto, he's a pretty groovy cat, literally. Yeah, it's the time to make things happen. Life is short. Do it now.
Well, and it's, you know, when you look at your bigger dream and your bigger perception. So I'm all about perception. You don't know what you don't know until you know. And then you can widen your horizons. And the world becomes really large when you really get out there and you explore and experiment and get excited about something. We're not doing very much right now. This is a great time to build a business. This is a great time to build a mission statement. This is a great time to fine tune what you want to be when you grow up, if you want to grow up, right?
Well, it is. And hey, that's a key word, Rustie. Perception. I've always said, at least to me, perception rules the world. And, you know, on that note, I mean, we control much of our perception. Something that occurred to me is it may be too simplistic, but there's two types of people sitting at home during all of this. one type of people are having a lot of negative thoughts, while the other type of people could be controlling those thoughts and having more positive thoughts, more optimistic. It's a matter of, who are you, speaking out to the world. Who are you? Which person are you? Because the trick is you get to choose who you are. So control the perception.
I like that. And I don't know if I like the word control, but I do like ease of flow. Like I like to look at things very easy. We complicate stuff way too much, don't we? Don't we get in our own way?
Gosh, are we masters of complicating things too much as a human race? I'm trying to be less of a master of that, but we're humans, so it's going to happen.
Well, the cool part about being human is we're just this big bag of water floating on a huge rock, whirling into infinity. And if you really break it down to that level, like chill, just sit back and relax, but focus on what it is that burns your soul. Like I cannot stress enough. Dream, do an action plan, set goals, set smaller goals, set even smaller goals, and then learn and do all of those things. And I swear to God, everybody will be the happiest person on the planet.
Yeah, you're spot on, Rusty. Maybe it just sounds too simple. Obviously in practicality, it takes a lot of focus and discipline and power of positive thinking to manifest, that simple plan you described. But absolutely, it works. I'll just share this with you. I think you read this, in fact, something I had written and put out. I wrote it several months ago. I've shared it with clients around the world. It just came out in a press release and was published on May 11th. But it's the three things that the 3%ers do to be wildly successful. And I'll quickly tell you what those are without suspense. I just want to say that I really started studying, people at a young age, a remarkably young age, because I got to work with my father in a very high traffic Texaco gas station in Dallas, Texas, right in the seedy underbelly of the big city and adjacent to some of the billionaires of Dallas, Texas. So all of that coming together and studying people. It was having a definite purpose, which has well been documented by gurus for a long time, but having a definite purpose, and then the power of positive thinking, which we're sort of talking about here, followed by one of my favorites, which is in the book, Overcoming the 15 Categories of Rejection, the 3 Ps: professional, polite, persistence, but a definite purpose, positive thinking, and treating the world with professional, polite persistence, coupled with what you just said. Yeah, you can go somewhere in life with that.
So you're hanging out as a kid at Texaco with your pa, downtown Dallas. You're probably about my age, so around the 80s, early 80s.
That's right.
And things are a lot simpler and a lot different. I remember going to the store to get cigarettes and soda pop for my mom on my bicycle. And I was 5, 6, 7. Back then that's the way it was. You just had a little note from your parents and that you can get these things and you got them. Simple times. So you weren't really too overly distracted if you were able to observe people.
My father, rest his soul, was really one of my greatest teachers and one of the funniest people I've ever known in my life. So it was a lot of life lessons, being, in an adult environment. No distractions, not really. It was more about trying to keep up and be on that adult level. So you have to pay attention. And one of the fun things, I get noted for being very good with math, as people call it. My first company, I'm a serial entrepreneur, that I founded was a debt financing company when I was in high school, using time value of money equations that Mr. Dixon taught us. But anyway, fun stuff. What a cool kid I was. A lot of that came from having to make change out of an old-timey cash register starting from the age of 8. With adults in a gas station. So yeah, distractions, they love to tear you down in life, that's for sure.
I think it's really intriguing that you became like a financial whiz at that time in high school, because not a lot of people have that type of ambition. What is it that you thought about when you opened up that business in high school? Like, what were you thinking? You wanted to be a millionaire? You wanted to have the latest Pinto back then?
Mustang, yeah, Mustang GT. Or bore out my engine more in my current Mustang GT at the time.
Right.
Sure. That's a pretty cool question, really. What are youth thinking at that age? And you mentioned the millionaire. I think that's a common theme, that people don't often, if they don't achieve it, they don't let go of it until much later in life, when they've been beaten down or some realities set in, on living paycheck to paycheck and never going to save any money. But what I was thinking was, yes, I wanted to reach this point of being a millionaire. But mainly what really drove me, it wasn't that. It was just this burning desire to own businesses. And it ate me alive, because I didn't know, like, what business, like, what will I pick? What will it be? Looking back, it was a matter of, you didn't have to pick a single entity. If you want and you focus, you can have a variety of different businesses. So that was dominating my thoughts, going to bed and waking up, oddly enough.
So you were really entrepreneurial, as I can't say, because you're my sixth guest, and I apologize, but my tongue has left the building. See, you and I have the same spirit animal, because I absolutely love what I do. I love meeting people all over the world and getting to utilize this space to inspire, motivate, and liberate people's mindset. And you love building and creating businesses. So that passion is like the biggest high on the planet. My body vibrates. I get so excited. It's like you're going to Disney World for the first time, or your first house, that kind of excitement. What has it been like for you continuing to evolve and grow your businesses?
It's been happiness. It's thinking of the simple plans and the simple anecdotes we're told in life. Like, we said earlier, they're actually not so simple to carry out, of course, and many graduation commencement speeches and mentors and wise people are going to tell us and youth, you need to find what you love to do and then do that, and you'll never work a day in your life. Those kinds of things. And it's true. And it's really smart. But for me, it's really a matter of finding those things equates to happiness. And it is work, but it's fun work. I jump out of the bed between 4 and 5 a.m. every morning to start a very regimented morning routine of meditation, a power thought, and then a power thinking rally, and then some physical activity, things of that nature. So it's really about, I built a lifestyle that allows me to do what I love. As you're aware, the main business I operate and participate in is called C-Level Global, and it's all dedicated to this proprietary methodology that I've developed, which is all about helping other people, helping business owners grow. It's two things. It helps them grow revenue, back to everybody wants to be a millionaire, and two, helping build what I have coined as a wow customer-centric experience. Because if you take care of your customers, the money tends to flow and follow. So, I love those things. The methodology is a bit complicated and often will blur the eyes of a CEO or owner when I'm meeting them around the world. I've learned how to sort of bring them back home to the excitement of what we're going to do. But it's Renaissance methodology. It's re-engineering, energizing, nominating, applying an integrated selling service, accelerating, negating, communicating, evolving, all to build a custom revenue engine using a theory of accelerants I've developed. It's now in the Library of Congress, and a modes to market analysis to help brand and get more leads, and building the tagline I love, which is, you've heard of CPR, saving lives, but we build consistent, repeatable processes, CRP, to save and grow businesses and help people, help business owners, all again for that custom revenue engine. That stuff is wildly fun for me, but not everybody's cup of tea, right?
Well, and it is and it's not. I think that no matter what kind of business you have, there is a form of lead generation that you are required in order to pay your bills. And if you're able to do it in a maverick way, which is fun and exciting and different, and you're able to, you know, put yourself in a different bucket than most of the lead generators out there, which quite unfortunately, that whole generation has kind of sleazed out. I mean, the robo dialing and all of that, it's really that's a problem. It's not like lead generation when I was doing it many years ago for high tech firms like Dell and HP. Those were more rapport building, which is more like what you do versus what these other companies do. And I think it's hard for you. I would think it would be very hard for you to be able to get people's ears at first, just using the word leads. How do you approach that discussion in this day and age? I mean, things have changed so much.
Wow, spot on question, Rusty, sincerely. So ironically, though, it's lead generation that generally brings people my way, or the word of mouth they've heard. I just served as a chief revenue officer for a company for a few years with some of my consultants while doing the work I do, brought a wild amount of recurring revenue in their first best place to work world, and wonderful stuff. And so bringing it back to your point, it's still the people that have heard of that work from that company, they contact my business, C-Level Global, or me regarding lead generation. And I'm like, what? Lead generation? It's a hot topic. Most people actually believe, most business owners believe this premise: if I just had more leads, that's all that matters. Everything would be okay, which is completely false.
They're doing the dial by number methodology, and they piss through employees and they ruin contracts because they make promises that are not met. So it's really, what is your product? What is the value of your product? And how are you going to stand above the noise of your competitors? And that's where interest comes from.
That's where interest comes from. And I'm happy to be engaged in conversations with owners and CEOs and leaders of various size companies. We work with billion-dollar publicly traded companies around the world. I have a headquartered U.S. operations here in the Dallas area, and then our European operations are headquartered in London, with an office facing the London Tower Bridge. So it's beautiful, yet pricey, but beautiful. So we work all around, and any conversation with an owner is fun to me, or for some of my consultants, it's fun to have those. But it boils down to, yes, the lead gen, but back to your point, you're just evolving into, it's really more of a process. We build a new re-engineered go-to-market approach, and then we attack engine part 2, the research, the identifying the exact buyers and their contact details. Sure, psychographics and demographics can play a part, but it's more about knowing who the people are. And then it's the engine part 3 of the contact record management system, the CRM, no matter what that may be. Not to name anybody's system. There's, certainly some popular systems out there. I'm agnostic. It's about the way people use it and if automation and reports are put in place. Engine part 4 is the content machine for branding and thought leadership to the market and internal training. Putting these things together with engine part 5, research and development to improve the go-to-market products and offerings, to the digital presence, engine part 6, then on to the sales effectiveness 7, the follow-up system where you're going to lose most of the money anyway. That's just how it works, right? And then, following through to evolving through metrics, using the theory of accelerants to put key mission critical metrics on every person, and then also put them in teams for key mission critical metrics, which grow those 2 things I said, revenue and customer experience. When we start talking to leaders about building that system, it gets pretty exciting. They like that part. When if I give them too many details about Renaissance methodology, again, the eyes go blurry, and I bring them back to, well, you want to make more money, right? And make customers happy. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's what we're going to do. And then, we get a shot to go inside and play. Very few people build an engine like that and make it work together. Billion-dollar CEOs often tell me, whoa, 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 David, stop. We probably don't need to talk about lead generation. I've got a big internal team, probably more people than you have in your company. And I have probably more contractors and people outsourced than you have in your company, David, right? So skip it. And I'll just simply say, oh, great. Okay. So you probably have email campaigns going on, right? Of course I do. Yeah, we have an internal team doing it. You have a newsletter? Yeah, we got an external PR firm doing that. Got it. You go to events? Yeah, we have some event manager working that up. Very nice. What else do you do? And they describe these marketing tactics, but they're all siloed. Do they work together? Not likely. Point that out to a billion-dollar CEO and he goes, back up, David. Maybe we need to talk about that. One more thing I want to share, Rusty, that is a light bulb moment for almost any leader is often bigger leaders say, I already know the market, forget about it. Leaders of smaller companies, when I say bigger, I mean bigger revenue. Smaller companies tend to say, I need help on identifying the market. But I love talking to a billion-dollar CEO, man or woman, because they'll say, skip engine part 2 on research and identifying the market. I got that, brother. Look at us. You know who we are, right? We know the market. Simply say back, you're right. I'm going to skip it. Quick question, though. Do you have at least half of the buyers, the actual, because companies, if you're B2B, they don't write checks. People do. And even in a B2C, it's the people. Do you have those people identified and in your database? Like half of them? Oh, no. Maybe we ought to start talking about this. So it's really building the engine that companies can't get away from. They may have components, but working together and tweaking it out, that's fun. That's what I get to do.
So what I like about it is the fact that you're taking a fairly complex, there's a lot of weaving going on, a lot of ego, a lot of budget issues, a lot of training, because you have to get the staff on board to be able to utilize this. And sometimes the staff doesn't listen, because I've had quite a few that I've had to put in different departments in the past. So because we're on the same page here. But what I love about your process is that you do it in a modular way. I train my teams with a methodology called a modular effect. So you take your bigger picture, you break it down into what I call life pavers, and then you break it down even smaller. So your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-year plan, and then the big picture, break it down into a couple of years, then break it down into months and then weeks as goal setting. And what you've done is you've broken down the major components in such a user-friendly way that it's easy to understand without glossing over. And you really don't have to get too in depth with them as to the backlog of work that your team has to do.
Yeah, that's right. And your modular approach is so valuable, so needed. I would go as far as to say ingenious, even though most leaders probably think it's more rudimentary, but I challenge them to prove that they're actually doing it and not getting lost in the shuffle of the people and process after they make the announcement of what they want to do, and really failing at that modularizing each step to the milestones, timelines, metrics as you do. So
yeah, and it's no different than what you're doing, except I'm making them do it. They pay me to make them.
Yeah.
They pay you to implement. So that's the difference. But the excitement is it's on the same wavelength. The excitement is you get to build strategically a solid foundation for these people, giving them a heads up over their competition when it's implemented correctly.
Yeah, bingo. That is correct. And as those things come together, which doesn't happen overnight, it doesn't all happen in a year time frame. It's easily 2 upwards of 3 years to really install, change a system, shake it up. But it only starts with a leader, as I repetitively say, that is willing to shake it up and then not be deterred or lose focus a month or a few months later from a mob of employees who are coming at them or at my consultants, my company, to cease the process, because once people realize that things are really getting shaken up, they're going to be held accountable. Somebody's moved their cheese, so to speak,
I
right?
love that book.
Yeah, me too. And when people realize that, they're coming for you. And so a leader has to be resolved, not 6 months later or just a year later, but up to 3 years to get the base of the new system in place, to get a wow customer-centric experience in place and substantially grow revenues. It's
Have
key.
you read Go Getter yet by Bob Berg?
No, I have not.
Oh my gosh, put it on your list, write it down, because I interviewed him a few years ago. And if you read Move My Cheese and Go Getter back to back, your heart will just set on fire. It'll be like 4th of July. Just excellent, excellent, excellent motivational tools for people in business. Because no matter whether you own a, you know, a structure or you're just living in the world, that's still your business. As far as I'm concerned, you're still your own business. You might not be out, you know, working with multi-billionaire CEOs, but as an individual on the place in this planet, you're still owning your own business. And to me, when you have that mindset with every aspect of your life, the responsibility, your mission statement, goal setting, implementation, and forward movement, the biggest key, and please tell me if I'm wrong, David, the biggest key to any aspect of this is agility.
Yeah, you know it, Rusty, because you're rarely going to develop a plan and have it regimented without being malleable along the way. So that ability to pivot, adapt, improvise, you have to be agile. And it's such a classic example of the smaller entity can turn on a dime much quicker than a large entity. Change is harder for them, and that and the agility may be the advantage for David to beat Goliath in business. Without it, yeah, you're going to become stale.
Well, do you think that the way you put your program together for these organizations offers that pivotable small pivots to help align them better and tighter than other companies would?
It does. It does, because the re-engineering, the go-to-market, the business plan, which is aligned with budget, resources, technology, and then sets out mission-critical tasks for the people to reverse engineer the numbers to get to the goal. That sounds very rigid, but at the same time, the system is allowed for a lot of sway and leeway for how you get there. Innovation. Obviously, who doesn't want innovation? Who doesn't want to impact morale so you can eventually enhance your culture, which is very, very, very hard to do. Those are the things we attack through our vertical regimented two-way communication system, taking layers and champions from every aspect of the organization and grouping them together for agility, inspiring agility, allowing for agility, encouraging it, drawing out where the agile pivots and turns need to be, and quickly moving them in, even to some very, very large organizations. So we want agility, because I know that the likelihood that a CEO, the board, myself, or any of my team created the perfect plan that needs to be rigid throughout is impossible. And we will fail if we are not agile. And therefore, how do you do that? Well, the people are going to show you how to get there, and the voice of the customer, listening to the customer, which is so often overlooked, and the voice of the prospect, which is mostly overlooked, because who cares until they become a customer? Is how people feel. Use their voices, put it with agility, as you're pointing out, you got something. You got something. Yeah.
I think that, and I know we have to wrap up, and I apologize because this is a great conversation, and I think maybe we should have another one.
Yes.
But I think that the rudimentary old school, you're just a number and I'm just going to use you until I can't use you anymore, you're a dead horse, I'm going to get a helicopter, shoot you in the head and send you off. I think that mentality, and you know what I'm talking about, because that's the majority of sales when we were growing up. That's your sales environment. It wasn't like the IBM generation where you would have longevity and 401ks, and they actually cared about your family and they gave you birthday cakes. Now it's just like this fast food. Oh, well, you burnt out. See ya. You didn't make your quota for the month. See ya. I can replace you. And I think that's starting to change back to something more personalized, more human. Don't you? Do you see that shift, or is it just me?
I wish I saw it more. I am seeing that shift, and I often hear, rightly or wrongly, I'm hearing it attributed to more of a millennial mindset and gauging a business for the millennial mindset, which is a whole nother conversation. I have some doubts in what the millennial mindset is, but my point is that yes, I am seeing that shift slightly, not nearly enough. It's bugged me for a long time that leaders speak in terms of, you know what, if you take a look at that department and things don't look right or people don't look right, let me know. We're quick to cut them. We'll get them out of there. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Wait a minute. Oh, these
Well,
are
9 chances out of 10, and I've worked for some pretty brutal sales companies and lead generation companies, and it's just some of those environments are not healthy. And there was one company in New Hampshire that I worked for where every day at 9 o'clock in the morning, they would literally scream at us, tell us we were stupid, incompetent, we didn't deserve the job. And that's how we started our day, in a very toxic environment. And so as I grew in my role, I decided to train my people. And that's something that's very unheard of in that lower level sales position. They don't train you, they just throw you on a phone with a script and say, take care, good job. And sometimes people don't have the skill set to bang out 350 calls a day. Sometimes they're really good at something a little smaller, like long-term projects, project management kind of stuff. It doesn't mean that you have to get rid of them. You just have to find where they fit in the company.
Okay, you're right. And this was what prompted me many moons ago to develop the theory of accelerants in order to restructure people like that versus put them out the door. And there's a lot more to that. Maybe we can chat about it some other time. But people need to be put in the skills they can handle versus put out the door, because it's much better for the organization in terms of recruiting, wasted time, effort, money, etc. No doubt about it. And that does remind, I want to mention, I know we're running out of time. I was very much inspired by seeing the rejection people face in situations like that, but life in general. So I had set out and achieved, I wanted to help people through being, I didn't know until I found out that it didn't exist. So I wanted to be the first person to categorize all the sources of rejection, but virtually the sources of yes and no. The categories of rejection. I thought I could do it in a year or two. No, it took much more money than I expected and 10 years of a global study in 22 countries of research to be the first person to categorize, or as some college professors call it, put the typology of rejection together, which is now in the book, Overcoming the 15 Categories of Rejection. But think of that because of what you say, the rejection people face and the beatdown, which is aimed at dampening their trajectory and their happiness in life, is very sad. And there's ways for people and organizations to understand that and embrace that and treat each other much better and achieve much, much more.
And you can absolutely achieve much more. I'm in Florida. I don't know if you knew that. And all of a sudden, Arthur's decided to join us for the conversation. So if it gets really loud, I apologize.
No.
Google was kind of a forerunner in a healthier work environment. So we're going to have to side table that because we are running out of time. And I do invite you back on so that we can continue this conversation, because I feel like this year, right now, at this time, this is a great way to develop your business, develop your mindset, and get past those obstacles. And I think you would be a great person to continue having that conversation with.
Anything
behind you, young man? My last question. Behind you, is that you?
Behind? Oh, up here?
Yeah.
Oh,
fantasy, you're going to be like Arthur living on an island.
So yes, I guess in one of my power thoughts each morning, that essentially is me and my family. That was taken out of a business I sold. I started a concept, kind of inspired by the Disney concept and mascots and promoting to families. That's Snow Monkey, which was a double drive-through, full sandwich and ice creamery coffee shop that I had developed and eventually sold when I was moving to Europe for a while. So that's, yeah, it's my good buddy Snow Monkey up there.
That's very cool. I've been giggling about it this whole time. I'm like, yeah, he's got it. I know exactly what he wants to be when he grows up. He wants to be a lounge lizard, lounge ape. So
Peter Pan
David,
will never grow up.
yeah, I'm never gonna grow up either. I still have my Nerf guns. I just bought a new set of water guns. My daughter's terrified, but it's good. It's good. She's 14. She's rolling her eyes. I gotta keep her in line, Lord. David, tell us where we can find your information, and we'll circle around and do this again.
Okay, thank you for asking. clevelglobal.com. The letter C is in chief. clevelglobal.com is one way. The book, Overcoming the 15 Categories of Rejection, is on 15core.com. That's www.15cor.com. And also I would mention we've emerged a new business unit, which is building masterminds around the globe. Brand new business, but we already have people joining. And we're offering some coaching out of that I'm participating in. So we have a lot going on. And I encourage people with any questions about their business, I'll talk to them and answer them for free to the best of my time ability, or one of my very astounding consultants will step in for me. So we want to help people. We really want to help businesses and people.
Well, if you ever need a positive mastermind, you let me know, because my next mastermind that I'm doing on your own university, is Fears. It's going to be super exciting.
Okay.
All right. We'll talk in a second.
Okay.
If you're watching Living and Thriving with Rustie, that was David. Go check him out. His link will be high, below, side to side, maybe in like the POW things back in Marvel comic days. I don't know. Who knows? You'll find it. It'll be there. I'm super excited about this whole adventure and learning and getting more and more excited about reinventing myself. God, you guys must be on high right now because of all of these options and opportunities and wise people who've been there, done that, and have the tools, tips, and tricks to liberate your mind to be a better version of you. Know that I love you. Know that you're beautiful. Go take a bath. Go sing in the kitchen. I don't care if you're singing naked. Raise those blinds, your curtains. You know, who cares? Nobody's looking through your windows anyway. They're too busy watching MSNBC or whatever. Go and do something exciting for yourself, and most importantly, be in service to somebody else. Until next time.